Hello and welcome back everyone to the channel. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different and we're going to be taking a break from the normal videos. I will admit this is not the first time I've recorded this because I messed up very badly in the first few tries. So today I'm just going to show you a little snippet of some of the processes I used in order to create the Witcher animations. We're going to be dealing with the Medallion today, and we're just going to make a simple animation where it swings left and right with a little bit of a sort of a fake 3D effect. So we've got our composition inside of After Effects, and we've got all the different layers which were brought in from the Photoshop document. So first things first, we're going to want to move the anchor point, which is this little guy, up to the top, which essentially means that when we want to rotate this object, the anchor point will be up here, giving it the impression that this is where it's coming from. This is where like the weight is below it rather than straight on top of it. It's difficult to explain, but you'll understand what I mean in a minute. So if we go to the head, you can see when we rotate it now, it will go like that, instead of what would happen if it was there, which was like, oh, like that. So, let's see, we're going to want to key in the first part of the animation. Now we're using keyframes, which is the way of animating inside of After Effects. And the first thing we're going to want to do is find our left starting position, which I think at about 20% should be fine. Then we're going to want to copy this keyframe, put it at the very end, because we're creating a loop, and a loop has to loop, which means it has to go from the first keyframe back to the keyframe in the middle, which is the furthest point, and then back again to the original, so that it creates the loop and you never feel like it's stopping or starting, it's just continuing forever. So now we have this, which is not exactly what we want, but it's the beginning of it, and this is going to be how it looks when it starts swinging. The next thing we're going to want to do is do the same thing for the chains, and the chains, I normally would just take this number here and change them by the same percent, but since they're not exactly the same in that way, they have slightly different positionings to the medallion, I'm going to be safe and do it all manually. So it's the same process, and go to the middle part, 3 seconds in, move it to about here, and we're actually going to change the position just a little bit to make it lower so that it kind of fits in, and it follows it perfectly. Okay, nice. We're going to do the same thing again for the back chain, same little process, move it that way, and copy, This is literally what I do all day when I'm animating these things. Just doing it, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, so now we have animated little head that goes back and forth, and this is a good start, but there's no weight to the animation. You know, you don't really feel like you're looking at something that has that's heavy. It doesn't look like it's metal, it just looks like it's going in a linear fashion between one point to the next point to the last point. So what we're going to do is we're going to select all the keyframes, and I have this little add-on here called Ease and Whiz, which is an amazing little program, not a program, but it's amazing little add-on, because you can create different easing effects with it and it will do it all automatically. So, you know, you kind of like bounce and elastic and stuff like that, depending on what type of effect you want to go for, but it also helps give animations more personality. In this case, we want it to sign between one and the other, which means it will start off slowly and then pick up halfway through and then go slowly again, so it looks as if there's weight because the mass, it's getting up and then gravity brings it back down again, and that's how it works. So we're going to apply it to these keyframes, to these keyframes, and to these keyframes, and that's it. And now when it swings back and forth, you get the impression that it's something that's heavy because it's going quickly, slowing down, and then picking back up again as it comes back down. So that's the majority of it done, and now we just want to add in a little bit of a 3D effect when it comes to the head. So I'm just going to pre-compose this because I want to make sure it's all okay. Yep. And in this composition here, I've essentially got the wolf's head by itself with an adjustment layer on the top which will blur it out a little bit. And we're going to use something called a displacement map, and a displacement map will take information that you feed it and use that to distort the image that you want to affect. And the way the 3D effect works is that we blur out the original image and then use it again to distort the image we're trying to distort, which is it's very difficult to explain. I don't know if I'm just bad at explaining or it's difficult to understand, but you'll understand what I mean in a minute. So we're going to take this composition, put it into our main one, we're going to hide it because we don't technically need to see it, and we're going to put the displacement map on this composition here. Now already you can see it's messing it up. So what do we need to do? We need to first turn these to luminance to make sure they work. And I think I've done this right, or have I not? This should all be okay. Okay, so... Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay, sorry, let me show you. I forget how this works because there's so much going on. Okay, so yeah, I did it right. We want to take... we want to feed in the blurred image that we had before. I just was not feeding in the right layer. So the reason we want to do this is because then this is how it's all going to distort. So we want to start a keyframe here, and let's say you can see when I move these sliders, you can see how it distorts, and it's using the image underneath to distort it, and in order to kind of make it look as if it's actually moving when it's not. So the only problem with this is that you have to be kind of careful on how much you actually do distort it, because it can end up warping it very unnaturally, and that can obviously look very wrong. And I think we're going to want to change the position of this top chain because it feels like it's a little bit too far that way, but I think that's about right. So let's say we want to start on a 12 and we want it to be up a little bit there. And I know this up close it looks like it's distorted a bit too much, but trust me, when you look at it from far away it doesn't look as bad as that. So we want to basically take these numbers, and what I normally do is I just reverse them. So I will minus that, although actually that won't work in this case because of the chain. But if I move it down a bit there, and that could work out quite nicely, though the problem is it's just going from 9 to 2, so I think that's okay. But you know what, instead I could just zero it out, which means it will start distorted and then go back to its original form when it reaches the peak. But I think I want to try just to make it work this way. And I'm going to actually change the position of the chain on top because it's not following correctly, so I can actually move it manually when it comes to it, and that will still work out quite nicely. So now, when it moves back and forth, it actually looks as if it's a little bit 3D, and it's kind of a cool effect. It's very basic, but it still looks really nice. So that's it. I don't know what you'll do with this information. If you work in After Effects, then maybe this was somehow helpful. But this is how I made some of the animations for the Witcher series, and there you go, the knowledge has been passed on to the next person, even though I got all of this from just years of messing around online and getting stuff done, so yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and there will be more content on its way soon, and I'm still working out how to animate the Cyberpunk lore series, because I really want to make that, and I want to make it really, really cool. I have some nice ideas, but in terms of the time that it will take to make them, it's something else because I'm working on some other projects at the moment. However, I shall not disappoint, and we shall do something cool together and make great things and bring peace to the galaxy and all that hogwash and stuff. So anyway, guys, I hope you all have a really wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching.